Um, Good day, everyone. Thank you all for joining us for today's session with TD SYNNEX and AvePoint. We are thrilled to have you here as we explore the important and timely topic, how to prepare your customers for Microsoft 365 Copilot with security-first approach. With all the excitement around Copilot for Microsoft 365, it's easy to see the transformative impact it promises in terms of productivity and work quality. But before jumping into the Copilot journey, there's a crucial step we must take, ensuring that the environment is secure. As we go through today's session, please feel free to submit any questions you have in the Q&A section. We'll make sure to address them during the presentation or in the dedicated Q&A segment. With that, let's dive into today's session. I'm pleased to hand it over to Lisa Hedlund from AvePoint, who will lead us through the important discussion of today. And thank you again for being here and enjoy the session.
Thank you, Adam. So yeah, great to be here. And as Adam already said, Lisa Hedlund. I am the distribution business manager for Nordics and the Baltics region for AvePoint. And that means that I support our distribution partners, but also partners like managed service providers, resellers, etc., in the journey with AvePoint, and of course our attached with Microsoft. I've been in the IT industry for around 12 years, in the Microsoft ecosystem about 5 years, and the past 3.5 years I've been working for AvePoint. So before we dive into the session today, I also want to stress our presence in the Nordic region. Today we're a team of 9 people in Sweden, and when we say 9 people, all those 9 people are sort of customer-facing, partner-facing roles. So our technical team, support, product development, etc., is positioned across the globe. So even though 9 people might not sound that much, we're here to help you and to support your success with us. So, just briefly about AvePoint, because we are not yet a household brand name in the Nordics. We're getting there. But for those who have not come across us before, we are a global leader in data security, governance, and resilience. So, as mentioned, we're like a Microsoft attached. We're a Microsoft ISV. So I would say 90%, maybe even more, of our business is actually really focused on Microsoft and primarily the 365 platform, where we help customers and partners to migrate, manage, and protect their data. We have customers obviously across the globe from our biggest brands, as you can see here, WVPP, really large organization. Not everyone can, put NASA on their customer brand logos. All of the logos that you see here are of course selected because they're big global brands that people will recognize. But we have a lot of customers in the SMB segment, and our smallest customers that is supported by partners is actually, one-man band businesses. So anyone from one-man bands up to big, large corporate, we can support. We're also listed on NASDAQ, which can be good to know when it comes to having confidence in the company that you trust your customers' data with. We're not going to disappear tomorrow. We're a solid business, we're growing. So with that, let's focus a bit more on today's topic. A lot of you will probably have already come across numbers like this, that the Gen AI partner opportunity is huge. Canalys, which is a partner-focused research firm, has estimated that by 2028, the opportunity within this segment will be $158.6 billion USD. That's a lot of money to bet for, right? There's plenty of opportunity for the partner ecosystem to generate money, business opportunity, and of course serve customers across Gen AI. We've also maybe come across headlines like this from the computer world, where they say that Microsoft 365 Copilot rollouts slowed down by data security and return of investments concerns. The data security concern is of course tailored around the fact that Copilot can access whatever you as an end user can access, which, if that's not put in place correctly, a Copilot rollout can be unsuccessful or even have detrimental consequences for the business. So therefore, some businesses started projects but they stopped them because they were worried that the data was not properly secured. Here a little snippet from a recent Gartner research, where actually the majority of the businesses are looking at Copilot is currently piloting Copilot and looking at the smaller deployment into 2024-25, right? So a majority of the businesses hasn't gone full-scale deployment yet. So there's still plenty of opportunities to talk to your customers about Copilot and also, of course, related services. From an AvePoint perspective, we actually have a 3-step approach to Copilot, which is the second one we're going to focus on today. But I still want to mention that it's also crucial to think about how you prepare your customers from a data perspective to leverage Copilot. When we talk about prepare, we primarily focus on the data quality and the fact that the data is easily accessible within 365. So think about a ROT analysis. Make sure that you only have good quality data within 365 so that Copilot will not generate new content based on old data, because that will only be glorified old data, right? So ROT analysis, where we can help establish what can be deleted and also archive, and then of course what data should be left in the production environment for the employees to easily access and use, and Copilot to leverage as well. Secure, we're going to dive into that. Optimize. Also, if you're looking at, how did we come into a place where we had old data hoarding in the tenant in the first place, and also potentially security risks. If we optimize the operations, we have good hygiene, how we create workspaces, teams, etc., then we have an easier situation moving forward as well. We also have, solutions around adoption. So we go a step deeper than, for example, the Viva platform of Microsoft, where we can provide deep analytics around the usage of Copilot. But yes, as I mentioned, we're going to focus on secure your data today, which is, if you're going to do one thing out of these 3, do this. So the solution that we have for the secure play is called Policies and Insights. You may recognize this, the battle between the end user who just wants to get their job done and the information security aspect, which is, I need to be safe and secure. The data can't be exposed. Best case, let's lock it up. Let's not have anyone look at the sensitive data. And you as a partner or the IT admin of a customer, they will stand there in the middle and being pulled in 2 directions. Here, we don't necessarily want to see that either side wins, if you like. We want to see a balance between productivity and security. With Copilot, with Gen AI and all of these tools that are now out there, this struggle has not become easier, right? So it's even more important now to think about what can we do to ensure that our users get the tools that they need to do their job, so that they don't bring their own AI tools into the workspace. Like, for example, you've probably heard that there is more people who are using Gen AI in their daily private life than corporate that has launched tools for people to use in their workplace. Then we also have a situation of shadow AI facing, the IT admin also facing risk, not just shadow IT, but shadow AI. Talking about risk management in Microsoft 365, to begin with, like, what are we talking about? Sensitive information, sensitive information, what can this be? First of all, if we have to understand what type of data we have across the tenant. So here we can talk about low risk data, such as marketing flyers. It could be guides how I put in my holiday or annual leave for the year. Cat pictures, there's lots of different things that can reside within the 365 environment that is low risk, no risk data. However, there is also highly sensitive data that only needs to be accessed by select internal users. And sometimes it can also be that we have guest users and external collaboration that needs to access certain data. It could be an accountant, they should have access to certain data, although they might be an external collaborator. So What can this sensitive content be? It can be things like personal identifiable information, GDPR-related information, etc., etc. That's kind of given. Most people would think about that sensitive information, but it can also be things like client information and proposals, financial records and budgets, board reports, strategic roadmap. I mean, I can take myself as an example. Just because I work for AvePoint doesn't mean that I should know the latest and greatest when it comes to strategic roadmap that is being discussed, right? So that's not the nature of my role. So that's how we need to get our customers thinking about this challenge that they're facing with their customers. It's not just, you know, people's address. It can also be a strategic roadmap or a board report. Then, of course, in relation to this, we need to control exposure. How many users internally have access to sensitive data. We also need to understand, you know, anonymous links that has been shared, if that is enabled by the business, and then right external settings for the right teams. There might be some teams that should have external users and others who should not have, etc., etc. And because we've been, you know, in the Microsoft space for over 20 years and developed solutions around data management in 365, this has been an area that has been a natural kind of progression for us. And this solution, worth mentioning, has been around long before Copilot. So it's not a buggy new solution that we're launching just for the sake of Copilot. It's been around for years, and only now it's just been that we see a lot more interest also with smaller customers because we're now up against AI. This is a very nice and well-organized garden. This is, of course, a metaphor for our modern workplace, because when it was first set up, there might have been plans to have it organized. You know where the flowers are, they're well watered, and you can see where different segments are. But as there might be more activity and we don't maintain the tidy garden, this might be the result after 3 years. And of course, this is not the garden we're really talking about. It could be your Microsoft Teams environment. So of course, if we don't keep it neat and tidy, we expose ourselves to both internal and external threats, because if we can't see what's going on, then we can't really also identify where incorrect permissions, etc., is configured. So this is the challenge, right? And with Microsoft, you already have today some reports that you can leverage when you want to see what's going on, who's got access to what, etc. So the permission report will tell you anonymous links, external users, etc. The challenge with the permissions report is that you have to go into each and every Microsoft site collection and pull this report, and it's an Excel file, right? And then you can also think about the situation where you have a team. You may only see 5 members and you think this is safe to share this information, but in the back end, in SharePoint, it might be open to everyone. So if I share a document from this team to someone who's not a member, they can still get in and get access. And if that's not obvious to everyone, that can of course be a dangerous situation. Audit reports, who did what, where, and when. Here we can also see data up to 90 days. So if you want to investigate something that happened before then, tough luck. DLP report, security and compliance labels for people who are leveraging that. Worth highlighting here as well, Purview is of course a tool that Microsoft has as well. Purview though is not necessarily developed for the SMB customer in mind. It's pretty complicated to configure and run and manage. So for smaller customers, it could be a costly business to actually pay for the time that someone needs to invest in Purview to make use of it. So if we're going to give a concrete example here, the permission report will give you information such as an external user, which we call Roy, has access to this team. And then the audit report will tell you a document has been accessed 10 times in the past month. And the DLP report will tell you this team contains sensitive information. Very valuable information, but very siloed as well. So in order for you to make sense out of it, you might run a PowerShell script and that way get some context into the picture. And together with the audit logs, you can also get information about what happened to any item in 365. And then the DLP report also puts something into context when it comes to sensitivity, but still lots of work getting this done. Linking this back then to Copilot specifically. So this is from Microsoft themselves. They're stating it's important that you're using the permission models available in Microsoft 365 services such as SharePoint to help the right users or groups have the right access to the right content within your organization. So Microsoft themselves tells you that this is very important because Copilot will have access to the same documents, sites, etc. as the end user using Copilot. The difference is, of course, which everyone has realized by now, that Copilot is not limited by time or creativity. It just will give you back whatever you have access to through any ways in the tenant. So before you turn on Copilot, make sure to secure the data. This is where we will come in with an alternative approach to the manual approach we just went through really quickly now. So it's called Policies and Insights, but let's start with insights. So the first thing you need to do is to define risk and exposure levels. And we were going over this in the beginning where we're talking about what is sensitive information. So you have, for example, pre-built templates where GDPR can be leveraged as is. You can also see that you can use Microsoft sensitivity info types on sensitivity labels if you have those in use, but you can also create custom information types. Custom information types can be very specific to the customer you're helping out with this. It could also be specific to an industry that you're serving, etc., etc. So what a sensitive information type that is kind of custom created, that can be anything. Let's use the example of a contract that is called ABC123. That is not generically sensitive for the world, right? But for your customer is, then let's create a sensitive information type with that code. Could be also ABC123, whatever, you split it up, or in different combinations that you can think about this term being used, and then it will also be identified as sensitive. So this is a crucial step where you would typically sit down with your customer, kind of go through, get their minds going about what is sensitive to them, give them examples like, do you have board reports? Do you have strategic roadmaps? What do you have that can be sensitive if it's shared with everyone or a large group or external users? So here you sit down, you define that, and then you configure the tool to do the job for you. So when you configure this, you then have to run a scan. You scan the complete tenant of the data to identify sensitive or overshared information. So this will give you key information about the situation in the tenant, who has access to what, etc. It will give you, like you can see here, this heat map, but then of course you can also drill down into specific pieces of information. So we spoke about PowerShell and the fact that it can be very tricky to, create something also that is presentable for the customer, because bear in mind, not all of your customer will be specifically IT literate and they might not really, make sense out of a big Excel sheet. But Policies and Insights actually offers a built-in executive brief. So you can export this and it could be the foundation of the discussion that you kickstart the project with your customer. So this report will show in a heat map and highlight where sensitive information content is and what is my exposure level in 365, how many guest users. Guess what? There's lots of cases that we hear from our partners that people have so many guest users that they didn't even know about. We recently had engagement with a Finnish customer. They had about 100 users, 1,000 guest users that they could immediately remove because they were not supposed to be there. So yes, it's valuable, immediate value, I would say, as well for the customer. You can also see things like whose OneDrive is externally shared and which team exposes the highest risk, so you know where to prioritize. So if you would leave the report and then maybe click into the actual solution itself, you can see things like documents that has been shared with a large group. You can click into those and dig deeper, or information pieces that have been shared with everyone. So it highlights high-risk scenarios in your environment. It can also show permissions and support, so you can quickly search for a person or a site that you want to drill down into exactly. Okay, this person is about to leave the business and they're unhappy. Let's see what they have accessed in the last week that they were working here, etc. If there are situations like this, or this particular SharePoint site contains lots of sensitive information, have people access to it, and have someone actually accessed it. Really useful to know. You can also see trend over time if you put this in place for a longer period of time. So for example, here you can see 125 anonymous links, and that's an increase of 2.5% this week. So that's the insight piece. It will tell you what's going on within the environment and will give you the ability to fix it. So worth mentioning here as well is if you see permissions that you don't like, you don't have to go into Microsoft platform. You can actually remove the permission straight away in Insights, in batch or individually. Governance without enforcement is just a suggestion. As we can see here, the little bird sits on the sign where he's not allowed to be. Of course, end users of 365 is not necessarily as stupid as a bird, but we all know that people who are told to do something and still can do it have a tendency to do what they need to do to get their job done. I mean, we have everything from people just ignoring the rules or the suggestions that has been made to them. We also have the memory can fail. You can forget that you're not supposed to do something, and also mistakes, because we're people, right? So all of this can be prevented by having proper governance in place. So after you found out what needs fixing, you can clean up the permissions, as I already mentioned, but then you can also enforce policies. And policies is supposed to be like guardrails for people, helping people to do the right thing, right? So within Insights, you have intelligent remediation. That's actually AvePoint using AI to suggest what policies could be put in place in order to make the environment more safe and secure based on what you have found in Insights. So again, suggestions, you don't have to follow them. You can also put in whatever policies you may want to. So you craft policies that can be adapted to your team's way of work and block most common risks in your 365 environment. So that's what policies is there for. Available rules and policies. So this is just some of the policies that are available in the policies sort of aspect of this tool. It's both on individual policies for Teams, groups, SharePoint, and OneDrive, as well as tenant policies. So for example, control access from unmanaged devices, site collection, administration enforcement. There's lots of different things that you can put together to make policies that suits the business that you support. So wrapping the story up, we're gone from the Microsoft siloed approach, which we started with, where an external user, Roy, has access to confidential information and has accessed it 10 times in the past month. Now we know Roy is the guy. He's the one that has accessed this information that is confidential. That's the context that you did not necessarily get from those 3 separate reports in native Microsoft. And then even better, you can put a policy in place to restrict his access, because no external users are allowed in sensitive teams or teams with sensitive information. And then on the back end as well, you can enable a notification to go out to either the user, but sometimes even better, the manager or the content owner of someone that is breaching what they're not supposed to do. I had to think about that. Was that the right way of saying it? I think so, yeah. So better stories, stronger policies. If you're thinking about how you can package this as a partner, I said initially, sit down with your customer, define what is sensitive information, what do they need to kind of highlight from their perspective, and then you deliver the results. That could be like a Copilot readiness assessment, where you charge for the hours you put in. You can package it however you like, with Copilot readiness, security, assessment type thing. And then, of course, there's also other pieces that you can package how you like external access remediation, remove external users. You can also have like content strategy remediation, like why did we end up here in the first place? How can we improve the way we're working together in the environment? Advanced policy remediation, that's kind of looking at the combination of different policies to make it exactly the way the customer wants. Of course, this is going to take some time, and this is time that you can charge for, but the heavy lifting and the boring work, if you like, is done by policies and insights. You can also think about this as a managed service, right? You do the initial assessment and you deliver a result, you fix the immediate challenges and risks, and then 365 is not static. It may take a week, a month, a quarter, and then you have new challenges. So if you have not implemented this on a regular basis, you don't get the policies, but also with the insights, things happening all the time. So you might have to tweak policies, you might have to, go in and do reconfigure what is sensitive. They might get a new contract name that needs to be added, etc. So this is where you make yourself valuable as a managed service, right? And you can, of course, offer different packages to different customers. If you're a small customer in a not very regulated industry, you might go with the basic. I need this once a year. If you're if you have higher sort of regulations on you as a business, and you're a larger customer, you have lots of external users, there might be a need for more regular risk assessments and more recurring updating of policies, etc., etc. So this is how you can package it. This is just, again, an example. We're more than happy for you to kind of push. This is AvePoint policies and insights, but if it better suits you, you can kind of hide us in the background, and you just tell the customer the outcome that they get and use our tool for that. You may have already figured, but policies and insights is not just relevant for Copilot readiness assessments. We have NIS2 around the corner, right? This is also a very valuable tool to get your customers ready for that. ISO 27001, I mean, it's related to GDPR, etc., etc. DORA. So yes, Copilot is the topic of today, but again, very useful tool for other scenarios as well. And just in general, keeping data safe and secure, data security. We know that this might be, even if it's a very automated tool, it's still a new solution that you need to learn and also go to market with. So we've done some of the work for you. There is lots of resources on our partner portal, both around understanding and crafting strategic approach and develop the knowledge and implement and go to market. Here you can find things as even a sample statement of works. So imagine you're going to do a deliverable to the customer and you don't want to start with a blank sheet. You actually have some inspiration here. You can take it as is, or you can take chunks that suits you. So this is resources that is for free. The only thing that we kind of require from your side, if you register here, is that we want to speak with you just to verify that you're a partner and not a competitor, pretty much. So the barrier to entry is fairly low here. So if you're interested to learn more about the resources here, you can go to partners.avepoint.com. And finally, call to action. You can contact your local TD SYNNEX representative, of course, to set up a follow-up meeting or even a demo with myself or Jill or Ibo in the team. You can also sign up for the Elements partner portal, which is different from the partner portal in the previous slide because this is a customer operational portal, so you can manage multiple customers, but this is where you would access trials, rather with the other one that's content and enablement, if you like. We also want to throw a special offer out there. You can get 50% off your first order. It needs to be placed in Q4, that is end of December this year. And it's valid only for new AvePoint customers of policies and insights, so it can't be used on an existing customer for policies and insights. Now, do we have any questions?
Let's see, we haven't found any in the Q&A, but make sure to do so. Fill in the Q&A if you have any questions. In the meantime, I think a good question would be like, how can you partner up with AvePoint? What is the steps to take?
It's very low entry, like I mentioned. You can even go on to Stream 1 Ion, it's now, right? And place an order for AvePoint. It could be policies and insights, could be migration, it could be backup, and you're on the program pretty much. So you don't even need to speak to us. Of course, we'd love to speak to you. That's the preferred way, right? But you also get access to the content that is in the partner portal. So just working with you guys will enable the partners to really quickly, like in 5 minutes, they could be an AvePoint partner.
And you mentioned Stream 1 Ion. How does the licensing work with AvePoint when it comes to this?
So with policies and insights, you look at the total number of assigned users you have on a customer that you want to do the scan on. So if you have 50 assigned users that can have business premium or E5 or whatever license, assigned licenses, that's how many licenses of policies and insights you need, because we're scanning the whole environment. Sometimes I get the question like, oh, it's only 3 that needs Copilot, I just want to do on 3. Well, you're going to scan a whole environment of data with 50 users, not 3. So that's why we will go with the assigned number of licenses there.
Okay. And I mean, we see a strong push from the customers wanting to get started with both Copilot and also large interest in the AvePoint products that you're offering. Do the partner need to actually manage the licenses, or how does that work? Good
question. I mean, today we've covered more on the managed service side of things, like this is what you do for your customer. We also have the option to buy a resell license, where you simply act as the reseller and you deliver the licenses to your customer and they do the job themselves. This is a model that we often see with larger customers that have their own IT department, while smaller businesses typically rely on a partner to do the job for them. But of course, it doesn't stop you from reselling this to a smaller customer if they have the resources and the capacity to take on such project themselves.
Okay. Then I don't see any more questions. Maybe we should just wrap it up and let people go to work. Thank you so much, Lisa, for sharing. And as you said, just contact Lisa or me or anyone else from the TD SYNNEX team, and we'll make sure to support you on this.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for having me as well.
Yeah, thank you for joining. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.